So Luis has approximately 30 years of experience in project and program management. He has worked in big agencies such as IBM, Ericsson, and DWP Digital. Luis has solid experience in establishing and managing PMO and portfolio management teams, delivering projects globally from Saudi Arabia to Argentina, from United Kingdom to United States, and maybe in Mauritius very soon. Luis Jas is going to give us an exposure today on transforming portfolio management in an agile landscape. So we welcome Luis.
Hi. Okay. So I will present a few slides that I've prepared. Just to get those. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm not sure how to share my screen, but there we go.
You're okay?
How do I share screen? Do you know?
You've got share screen down as an option.
Share screen, there we go.
Yeah, just click on it.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Your screen is coming.
Do you see that? Okay, amazing. Yeah. Right. So can I just test? Are you recording this this session?
The sessions are recorded. Yeah.
Okay, good. So can I have access to the session afterwards?
Yeah, you'll have access to that. Thank you.
Amazing.
We are live at the moment, so yeah.
Okay, good. So basically, my role in this organization now is to transform the way that portfolio management is done. So when I joined, the role of portfolio management, or let's say an evolution of the PMO, was very much focused on simply reporting what they had without much thinking or preparation, or even without proper knowledge. So the first thing that I did was to actually capture what was the skills of the team that I had inherited, and as well as the team in general, from delivery and from portfolio management had. So I did start with the competence to kind of raise the bar in the competence. So I had in 2018, that was pretty much the pyramid that I had in terms of the competence. So in all these competence that we have identified, in kind of average, we had like 15% of the team have no knowledge whatsoever about these matters, and only a few of them had the top knowledge. So what I did was I made work to move us into 1 year to increase the top of the pyramid and to reduce the bottom of the pyramid. So that was kind of what we did by creating a learning environment in first instance, which was, we had created a weekly learning clubs. So every week we established a meeting that someone would talk about one of these subjects, normally one of these subject matter experts. They would go there and they would explain, could be finance management, could be benefits management, or planning or anything. And then over time, we managed to improve those knowledge areas, which was really good. So we also did some exercises to train people better in agile, in in project management, in portfolio management, so that they are actually getting the professional certifications. Okay, the 2020 assessment was not done because we kind of, because of the pandemic, we decided not to do that because it was a little bit very confusing at that time. So here I'm trying to kind of explain how was the maturity evolving in terms of our journey. So in 2014, I was not even in the organization. It was very much independent PMO type thing. Everybody was kind of doing what they wanted, what they however they want to do that. In 2015 was actually what we call the genesis of the central portfolio management, was when some sets of standards, ways of working, new tools was explored. Everything started there. And then in 2016, there was an organizational redesign of which the portfolio and delivery assurance was established, and that is where I belong to, the organization I belong to. And then we have chosen the ITBM tool, which is ServiceNow. And then in 2017, as I mentioned, we did a lot of focus on the capability, improving how people were, and also we improved in terms of the tools that we have been using, strengthening our position in the ServiceNow framework. In 18, we started to do, a little bit more oriented to the Agile framework. So we started to do like fortnightly reports. We established the connections, much better connection with delivery management, because that was not something that was in place. And we created some executive dashboards, which would allow the senior executives to see in real time what was going on in the organization. And then in 19, we started to build the roadmaps and a shared view of everything that was going to happen or planned to happen, the key outcomes and things like that. And then COVID hit us, was very much, everybody was focused on the COVID, but it was also a very good opportunity for us as a team, because we did a lot of work based upon the work that we've kind of prepared ourselves to do. So we were a lot agile, we were delivering faster, quicker, in a more seamless way, with many people talking to each other. We were managing the demand management in a better way. And then that beyond is interesting, because when I put together this slide, it was kind of what we were working on, which was the workforce planning, which we have already passed that point. So probably this is going to go to 2021. And now our focus is to kind of connect and improve better the connection with the product owners and product management in the Agile landscape. Okay. So I guess it's the key comment from me is that this is only possible because we have, number one, a tool that supports it. Number two, we have a strong delivery management and portfolio management connection. And three, we have the support from the senior stakeholders. If we did not have neither of the three, we would fail. So, and that is what I'm trying to explain here. So we have the partnership with delivery management, the capability and experience, the data, as I mentioned, and then stakeholder support. So those four kind of build together what is the successful delivery of business outcomes, in my view. So a bit of the parts of the same body, so just so you understand that. The organization that I run, which is the central team, is kind of made of these groups. So we have the portfolio management, the business service practice, the delivery acceleration, service standard, and front door and governance. But this is just a part of the work, because the functions which are held in the other side, they are the businesses that are actually working on things. So they are, I mean, we keep preaching that same story, that we are all parts of the same body. We would not succeed if those were kind of the central team is here and the functional teams is there. It's something that would only work if those are kind of acknowledging that they are parts of the same body. So that's our vision, to kind of help there with that. So we basically, what we believe is that we want to be able to express at any level in the organization what is the current status of anything that is the most critical, highest value, and the most transformational work that our organization is delivering. So it is with the confidence on the data, it is via the plans, dependencies, risks, so that we can track that in real time. So our ambition is to actually do something even before a project turns red or amber and any dependencies is not met. So this is so important, because otherwise we would be telling a story that is already outdated by the time that we discuss it. So in terms of our evolution, this is, I mean, on the early days, this is how we were showing that. So we kind of had one slider with one pager saying what were our inception projects, how many demands we had, how many red, amber, green, you know, what was the enterprise planning key items, and then, you know, the hot projects, things in delivery acceleration, and all those things. But it was very manual intense job. It was very much based on tracking down information, looking for it, and then sharing it over. But then we evolved into this dashboard, which is something that we use at that time in the end of 2018. So here you can see more the real-time data coming to fruition. So we have the ideas, we have the demands, we have the projects, and then we have the totality of the projects that we are monitoring at that time. And then the BAU work as well. So that would allow us to kind of see in a real, and one red project as well, we had it back then. So it was evolved to that view. And then we have a different approach, because we kind of, from the totality of the project, which is around about 400 projects, we created what we call the tier categorization. So basically, tier 1 is the top most important set of projects, tier 2 are the enablers for these top most important projects, and tier 3 are the basic BAU, like keep the lights on and you know, run and maintain stuff. So this is the view of that. So you can see on the right hand side the pyramid of the projects. So the top tiers round about 35 projects, and we have about 100 projects in the tier 2, and then another 200 projects that are in the tier 3 category. Something interesting to also see there is that we are, you know, from inception of the project, we are monitoring that, how many are in each of the tiers, and we keep track of that on a regular basis. and then as well as when projects are closed. You know, the result is kind of shown here because the green projects are going up, and we eventually have red projects as any organization, but we keep a high focus on those to make sure that we are tracking them. And you know, these words are just explaining all of that. Before I start the roadmaps, do you have any questions? Do you want to ask anything so I can clarify? No, I think it's a no. So I'll go with the roadmaps. So the roadmaps is also something that we have been working on, which it's simple to see, but it is beneath the information is what makes it to be beautiful, because every single project here is actually a record in ServiceNow that is maintained and tracked. So we have here a predefined set of milestones that we would be tracking against. For example, go lives and key milestones, and those would be kind of seen and monitored from its inception until the closeout, which is something that's really helpful to kind of give the visibility to organization. And this is what is our dashboard today. So basically we have the, like I mentioned, the tier one. So this is the view of the tier one project. So we actually see in real time how many of the tier one projects are in green, amber, red. And then we've got here the transformation projects that are the most critical ones. So we kind of monitor them from the, you know, whether or not they are green and the current status of them and the milestones that they are delivering. Then I go to the, yeah, it's the dashboard, the tier one dashboard that I was mentioning has a couple components in it. So I have the overall view, I have a milestone view, status view, the dependencies, the governance, risk, cost, resource. So everything in here. And we also had, because of COVID, we had this dashboard created to kind of monitor the key projects for COVID, and finally the transformation ones. So you kind of look at that and have the totality of the key things that we want to see, key outcomes that are planned to be delivered, key outcomes that has been delivered, as well as the phase split, which is the agile phase, like how many projects are in alpha, discovery, private beta, public beta, and in live state. Then the last thing here is the risks and dependencies. So we have the like a tool that kind of monitor and helps us to address the risks and dependencies. And then, you know, what is our vision for the future? So as I mentioned in the early slide, you know, improve the prioritization framework, something that we have already done. The workforce planning is something that is done. I mean, we have now all resources mapped in ServiceNow, and our next phase is to connect the resources with the projects, which is something that is yet to be done and depends of a few actions to do that. But we believe that once that is done, it will help in a much better way to plan for financials for the business year and things like that. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, the prioritization. Prioritization is also a good thing to mention. So basically one of the key issues that we have, and I suppose that all organizations have, is how to select the most important projects and prioritize them if you have a capacity constraint. So we created this framework that is also in ServiceNow, where we rate it by the value, the business value that it delivers, the risk that it contains, and the cost to implement it. So the combination of these three elements will create these bubble charts, and it would show us what are the most important low risk value that we can implement, and the high cost, high risk that we have. So we make a conscious decision whether or not we should do this or should do that. Yeah, I guess that as a conclusion, I just wanted to say that, you know, the stakeholder support is critical to implement all of that. The connection with delivery is absolutely a must. Otherwise, we would be completely disconnected to what's going on. And the single source of the truth is something that would allow us to assure that anything that is happening on the field is actually represented in a reality fashion there. And the fourth one, I mean, I could not be, you know, less of an advocate of the learning, capability, competence, everything that PMI promotes is definitely a must. So I have been in PMI for the past 20 years, and I've got my PMP certification back in 2000, back in 2000. And ever since then, I have only got benefits of my certifications, which, you know, I am also, I was a PGMP in PMI. So it's really good to kind of knowledge and share the competence. And that's it. So is there any questions? Do you want to ask anything, or are you?
Thank you, Luis. That was a great presentation. I think really the experience that you have with managing portfolios and big programs have helped our audience. So yeah, we have a few questions. You seem to have a large number of projects and programs running. So how, in a practical way, do you run that? Is there any specific tool? Is there a way that you inventory all your programs?
Yeah, so we have an agile framework, even if the project is run under a waterfall. We use the agile as a culture, if that makes sense. So all teams are kind of running daily stand-ups. All teams have, if that is a big project, it has Scrum of Scrums, for example. And more importantly, we deliver constantly. Every 15 days, there is a deliverable done. Regardless of it is waterfall or agile, we do that, which means we have a much better framework that is a lot more communication going on. So the fortnightly reports is a great tool for us to kind of assure that the things are going to the points that needs to go, that is, you know, addressing milestones and things like that that would need to do. So, but if, let's say for sake of an argument, a project goes badly, then what happens is that we normally establish what we call the delivery acceleration team, which is part of the group that I belong to. And the delivery acceleration team goes to these, let's say, red projects and start to dig in and try to help them to unblock problems. It's a very cohesive approach of working.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. And a bit, some question on the certification, program management, and all that you've been doing. So we have a lot of our audience who would like to get some precious advice from you on achieving this certification. There's nearly no one in Mauritius with this certification. So what would be your advice?
Well, my advice is, so for the PMP, the way that I approached was, I had, I have been training a lot on the tests. I mean, it's like, they have several teams or organizations that actually promotes those mock-up tests. So I've did that over and over and over again in order to pass the certificate, because it's a very, the time is very small for such a big number of tests, of questions. So I only stopped doing that when I was reaching the 90% mark on these mock-up tests. So I kept going and going until I reached the 90% test. Now, for the PGMP is a little different, because the PGMP entails that you have to have some background that is checked for you to pass for the panel review, which actually when this started, the PGMP, after I got my certification, I was part of the panel review team to review the resumes and etc. So my recommendation for the resumes is to be very precise on what actually you have delivered, to demonstrate that you have had a program management competence, or you have had the experience as a program management. It's not about measuring if you know project management. It's about measuring if you know the program management matter. Yeah. So that's my advice.
All right, thank you, Luis. I think that would be really precious to our audience. So, in terms of program and portfolio, what do you see is the key success factor for launching a big program and bringing it to success?
Well, I think that as anything, the success is on people. So talking to people, sharing your true wishes, and understanding what their other side are, is the key important piece. So no matter what however you are doing a portfolio or a program, it is very much the people that is behind it that will make this happen or not. So discussing what are the issues and understanding what are their frustrations, because at the end of the day, it is about the perception of what they need rather than actually what they need. So it is important that you address the perception.
All right. Thank you, Luis. It was a very, very good session, and we are very glad to have you today. So possibly in the future also we'll collaborate and have you. Thank you a lot.
Anytime. So if you need any questions further along, let me know, and I will be glad to help you, and anything I can help you with.
Thank you.
Okay. Good luck in PMI Mauritius.
Thank you.
Take care.